Alright, so my auxiliary setup is now installed. As you can see, fan is on, compressor running, lines and everything ran.
So if there's anything I know is that I didn't want this thing on the back of my cab. I decided to grab some metal, bring them to 270 Fab in Conyers, Georgia, a buddy of mine's shop, and he was kind enough to cut them up for me and let me weld my frame together to put this thing on the side of my truck. After mounting the APU on the side, I ran my AC lines up inside the cab and started on my electrical. Now, the wire I chose to use is a 1 gauge wire from the starter battery with a 60 amp inline fuse and a shut-off switch next to my main truck shut-off switch. So from there, I ran the wires to this bus bar in the back, which we will consider our main starter battery bus bar. Now, that bus bar is different from this bus bar, which is our main auxiliary battery bus bar. This bus bar will connect all our accessories together, or battery and chargers and AC and any other accessory you want to add, like an inverter or whatever. And this will be our main bus bar for this setup. Now, as you see, we had wires run into this area, which we will install our DC-DC charger. And that is a 4 gauge wire that we had running to that area with a inline 60 amp fuse. Now, this is a shunt now installed and connected. This is what monitors your state of charge with the batteries and give you small protections like temperature or whatever else that shunt offers. Now, it also can monitor multiple batteries or just one, as long as you have them in parallel. This is essentially me connecting the Renogy 1 core and DC-DC charger and turning everything on for the first time, except for the AC. The AC was not connected yet. And this was just a test to make sure all systems were connected properly and all the wires and circuit breakers and shut-off switches were working properly. Alright, so we've got the unit on the truck. It is currently on and running. As you can see, got a little... Alright, to do a final review, coming inside the battery box, we have or 1 gauge wire that's coming from our starter battery. This is what supplies power to these bus bars, right? And basically from these bus bars, this DC-DC charger will connect and take power from the starter battery, which is being charged by the alternator, to supply the auxiliary battery over here. Now, this small 10 gauge wire coming out of the DC-DC charger supplies the 60 amp fuse with power. And to be honest, I'm not sure why they made these wires coming out of the DC-DC charger so small, considering the type of power that goes through them. I had already bought 4 gauge wire, so I continued to use 4 gauge wire to connect the DC-DC charger to these terminals, which is what I was showing you on the bus bar. Now, this yellow wire here is what you would connect your solar panels, whether in series or parallel to, in order for your controller to harvest power from those panels and effectively convert that into power that your lithium battery can use to charge. So I hooked up also my shore power plug. This is a NOCO shore power plug, and this has a Y split for 2 different outlets. And I have my 60 amp connected to one outlet and my EcoFlow Delta 2 Max connected to the other one that is located underneath my bed. Now, one of the reasons why I went with a battery charger this big is because I wanted to be able to operate this AC at full power when plugged in and also able to charge the battery at the same time. Now, this AC uses 50 amps of power to operate at max speed, max power, right? And then that extra 10 amp would be going into the battery to charge the battery at the same time. All right, so let's talk about this side of the battery box for a second, right? So coming off the batteries to the bus bars, we have 2-aught wires connecting them, right? And I use 2-aught wires because considering the fact that I would be discharging and charging the batteries at different times and sometime at the same time, I wanted as much heat out of the wires by using bigger wires. All right, it's a 12 volt system, So the bigger wires you use, the less heat is going to be transferred through those wires when current goes through them. Now, my shunt over here and my DC-DC charger, they also connect to my Renogy One core, which is that monitor I showed you guys, through Bluetooth. And then that monitor connects to my Wi-Fi in my truck, which allows me to see information directly from my phone anywhere in the world. Now, you don't really need this, but I wanted this specifically because they offer smart home tech that I can add to the Renogy One core, like smart switches, smart sensors, and stuff like that. And I wanted a more modern look inside my cab. Also, I got used to EcoFlow's ability to view their app anywhere in the world by connecting my Delta 2 Max to the Wi-Fi, and that's also another reason why I pushed to get this Renogy setup with this auxiliary battery setup. All right, so that's pretty much how my battery box is set up. Now let's move to the inside of the truck. Now, as far as my AC outlet appliances like my TV, my microwave, my refrigerator, these are all plugged into my Delta 2 Max. All right, so now onto some real world testing. As you can see, it's 96 degrees outside. My weather app was actually showing about 95, but as you see, it was just 1 degree off. And this thing is blowing pretty powerful, enough to keep me very cool. Now, the truck was parked for about an hour and 20 minutes or so. The truck was on because I just drove there. Truck was on until about an hour and 20 minutes ago. And as you see, as hot as it was outside, this AC was able to maintain the temperature in the truck of about 75 degrees, which is effective, very, very effective. Now, as you can see, it's pulling about 47 amps. And this is at max power for this AC. And it will continue to pull that until it reaches that desired temperature that's set. However, I think it would be very unlikely for it to get to that desired set temperature due to how hot it was. But for what it's worth, it was great at maintaining a very comfortable 75 degrees Fahrenheit in a 96 degree heat. So take it for what it is. All right, so I just woke up and I have it set to 24 Celsius, which is somewhere around 75 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can see, that's what it is. Now, if we go to the front of the truck to check the temperature outside, it is 89 degrees outside. I started somewhere around, I want to say 10 p.m. last night. It is 8:25, and my battery percentage is at 48%. So you can kind of tell how efficient it's been. Nah, I don't have a lot of issues with this AC, but that drain line is something that I would possibly change in the future. If I were you, I would change it before installing it. Another thing is this connection here sweats, and it sweats enough for you to visibly feel and see water droplets. However, I don't see that it sweats enough for it to affect anything or drip onto your belongings. So in this scenario is where I would plug in. I am by a gas station and I have plugged into shore power, providing this 60 amp charger with power to my bus bar, which is powering the AC, and the extra 10 amps that the AC is not taking, or whenever the AC kicks down to 30 amps, it charges the battery at 30 amps. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. If you have any questions, like I said, just leave a comment. All the links will be provided to buy everything that you need to get this thing installed.